Hello, welcome to Healing with podcast. I am Marissa McDevitt, your host, mindset coach, mentor, and founder of Healing Center. Tired of all the BS? So was I. This podcast is my raw, unfiltered take on life, sharing my personal experiences, lessons, and healing practices that helped me break free from the cycles that no longer serve me. I'm just an average woman who decided to stop settling and start speaking up. Here we dive deep into the messy, beautiful, and sometimes painful realities of life, business, and relationships. No fluff, no judgment, just real talk, real growth, and real transformation. This is a safe space for anyone, women, men, and all the beauties in between. So who's ready to raise their standards, heal, and step into their power? Let's learn, grow, and evolve together. Now tune in and let's talk about it. All right. Welcome back. Episode 11. We're going to talk about triggers and understanding what a trigger is, knowing how to recognize when you're being triggered, how to take ownership of your emotions, and how to shift into a healthy communication in your relationship. Yesterday, we were out off-roading in a beautiful Wickenburg, Arizona. We were on like a 4 or 5 hour razor ride trip. And at the end, Marissa got quite emotional. And so we're going to talk about it today. I got very triggered with a situation that we'll get into. So what does it even mean? What is a trigger? Why triggers matter? What are they? So a trigger is an emotional response rooted in past experiences, wounds, or unhealed stories. We often project our unprocessed emotions onto others, especially in relationships. Now remember, being triggered is human. It's what we do with it that creates growth or conflict. How to know when it's a you issue. So I'm going to give you 5 signs that it's your own trigger. 1, how do you know it's you? You react disproportionately to what's happening. 2, you feel like your sense of worth or safety is being threatened. 3, you shut down or you get defensive immediately. 4, you assume the worst without clear evidence. 5, you relay the moment in your head obsessively, long after it's over. Yeah, I did that yesterday. Woo. So those are 5 signs. It's your own trigger that's going on. It's not the other person that you're lashing out at. It's actually a you issue. So what do you do when you're triggered? I'm going to share 5 grounding tools that you can use. So when you're feeling triggered and you're heated in the moment, 1, pause and breathe. Create space between the trigger and reaction. 2, take a walk or step away. Physical space equals mental clarity. I did that yesterday. 3, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? 4, journal it out. Put the emotions on paper instead of your partner. That's a great one. 5, own it out loud. Communicate that you're triggered and processing. So why are we talking about this? Yesterday, Marissa had a moment full of emotion, extremely triggered, and I lashed out on my partner in front of everybody yesterday. So like I said, we were in Wickenburg. We were off-roading. It was a beautiful day. We were drinking. Um, for everybody who knows me, I do like Bud Lights. That's just, I'm little, so Bud Light has been my beer for years because if I have any other type of liquor or alcohol, I'm a little bit of a nut job. So, with that being said, yesterday we were having a great time. We pulled over to our first stop, and our friends bust out a bottle of tequila. And I got really excited because that is the one liquor that I can drink a little bit and not be psycho on. So they're going back and forth on this tequila. Long story short, they say, come over, try this. So I tried it, and I'm like, this is not tequila. It tastes like whiskey to me. And they go, yeah, we think it's whiskey. And immediately I go, uh-oh, that's not good. And they're like, what? I'm like, I should not drink whiskey. They're like, why? I'm like, because I literally just get psycho mean on whiskey. It's not my liquor. I don't know why, what it does to you. I don't know why certain alcohols trigger people or their emotions or make them seriously psychotic, but whiskey does that to me. It also does that to my father. So, that being said, I had one shot. And I warned everybody I shouldn't drink whiskey. It kind of has something to do with the story. So we go on through the day and we're having a great time. And we get all the way back almost to the truck, and we're down at this bottom of a wash, which is like an open space, all flat, really loose gravel. And you can really go fast down there. And it was really fun. And we stopped to have another beer break, and I'm been drinking all day and I'm really excited, and I'm like, hey, I want to drive the Razor. I want to take the girls, everybody get in with me. I want to take the Razor. Let's go. I want to go down and come back. And at first my fiance's like, yeah, okay. And then he realized, like, okay, wait a minute. He probably should not take all the girls. You've been drinking all day long. So he did not communicate that exactly. He just said, wait, no, this isn't a good idea. I'm uncomfortable. You're not going. And that's all it had to take to tip me off. I got immediately defensive. And if you go back to the 5 signs, that is your own trigger. Number 3 was you shut down or you get defensive immediately. Because he said, yes, go for it. And then he thought about it and was like, this is probably not a good idea. She's been drinking. People can get hurt. Abort mission. He said, I'm not comfortable with this. No, not a good idea. But to me, that was like him trying to say, I don't know how to drive his Razor, and I'm going to be, I'm not going to be cautious, and I could possibly hurt someone. So I took it the completely wrong way from where he was trying to come at. And again, number 4, you assume the worst without clear evidence. So he was just trying to be the smart person. And I'm over here assuming that he's attacking me like I don't know what I'm doing and I shouldn't be able to drive his Razor. So then I replayed the moment in my head obsessively and kept getting more upset, even though it had nothing to do with me. It was just literally like, we just had a beautiful day. We're at the end of it. You don't need to be jumping in the Razor and driving like a crazy, because I will. With the girls in it, it's just a bad idea. I took it to heart because I just sold my Razor like a month ago. So I haven't even grieved over my Razor. This Razor of mine was my first Razor. I saved up a lot. I worked my butt off. It's been my lifelong dream to buy my own Razor and own a Razor myself. I don't have to ride anybody else's Razor. I don't have to ask anybody else if I can ride the Razor. it's my razor. I finally achieved my goal. That was my dirty 30 birthday present to myself. I bought myself a razor. It was amazing. I had it for a year and a half, and now we have two, and I just really couldn't afford to keep it anymore with maintenance and payments. So I let go of it. I had to pay my school off, etc., etc. However, I was still butthurt over it. And the beautiful thing is my fiance is like, you can take my razor anytime you want. Take the razor out, have fun. It's your razor too. So when we got done with a beautiful day and I wanted to take the razor out, I was told yes. And I got excited. And then I was told no. And then it wasn't even a no. It was a, but we'll follow you behind in the other razor. And then I just got more defensive because, that's when the alcohol kicked in. So long story short, I was a shit show. And I was extremely triggered. And it wasn't even about my partner. And I was just lashing out at my partner in front of everybody. Oh, yeah. I made a scene. I was very upset. I thought he was saying I didn't know what I was doing and all the things in my head. I was so upset. I just started walking. I realized I was so heated. So, what to do when you're triggered? I walked away. I realized I was so up in my emotions and so butthurt that I was causing a scene, and I realized what I was doing, so I just started walking. And of course, my sweet friend, she's running behind me trying to say all the things like, calm me down. And I was extremely heated. So anything that anybody was going to say, nobody was going to say anything to me at that time. I just needed to cool down and let my emotions settle because it wasn't even relevant to anything. It was literally my own grieving of letting go of my razor. Had nothing to do with anybody. That was just the moment that it happened. Yeah. So as I'm walking back, I was just walking back to the truck, and my partner comes up, and they're just kind of giggling at this point because they're like, oh, she said she doesn't drink whiskey. And my partner's never seen me act like that. It was kind of like a big emotional baby fit. I threw a fit. It was pretty much what happened. And I'm walking back to the truck, and so he picks me up, and we go back to the truck, and then all the wives come over, and they're like, hey, he was coming from a good place. And I got exactly where he was coming from, and I totally got it. But at that point, it wasn't even about him. It was about me, my emotions. I let myself down. So what to do when you're triggered? Number 3, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? So I did that. I realized this isn't even about my partner. This is all about me, and I am fighting my own ego right now. So I just told everybody, hey, I need to get in the truck. Let me just cool down and process. So, number 5, own it out loud. Communicate that you're triggered and processing. That's what I did. I told everybody, hey, I understand. Thank you for, trying to calm me down, but I need to process this. I'm triggered right now. My feelings are hurt, caused by myself. And we got in the truck, and I'm just thinking, and it took me 25 minutes. But I finally realized, okay, where is it coming from? My heart hurts. My ego hurts. I'm upset at myself because I worked so hard to get this razor. And, I basically couldn't afford to keep it anymore. And so I let it go. But doing that, now I felt dependent on my partner even more because it's his razor, it's not mine. And for me personally, being dependent on someone for anything drives me insane. So then I went through a spiral of I'm not an independent woman no more. It was extremely heartbreaking to myself. I just felt like I've let myself down, that I, I'm over here causing a scene after a beautiful day with my partner and my friends and his family. And I threw a big baby fit at the end because I didn't get to drive the Razor. So then I was just embarrassed. And I realized, like, okay, I need to own up to this. And I need to apologize to my partner. I need to apologize to his family for causing a scene and, whatnot. So I did. I sent out a beautiful text just saying, hey, I apologize for the drama. I got triggered. Had nothing to do with what happened. I had a beautiful time. We'll see you guys later. And of course, I apologized to my partner. I took responsibility for my actions, and I explained to him that where this trigger came from, where this emotion came from, and why it happened. And he, of course, understood. He also explained, he's like, I apologize. I should have explained more or said it differently. But at the same time, this is one important thing that I would love for everybody to really understand. Your partner shouldn't have to give you the list by list by list on why they feel uncomfortable about a situation. I don't even think maybe one other time that my partner has ever said, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't feel comfortable. If your partner says that, there's a reason why. So don't even ask twice. Just trust your partner. I felt so disappointed in myself for not being a good partner because that's all he said was, yes, you can take the Razor out. And then he reevaluated and said, actually, was his words. Actually, that's probably not a good idea. I'm uncomfortable with it. No, you're not going. That should have been the end of it. Okay, babe. End of it. It wasn't. It's a learning experience. So, 5 healthy ways to communicate during disagreements. 1, use I statements instead of you accusations. Right? So what was I doing? I was like, you're not letting me take the Razor out? Really? Like being, coming from that space. When I settled down, I used I statements. Honey, I'm sorry. I overreact. These emotions came from this part of my heart because of this situation. I got triggered. 2, validate their perspective, even if you disagree. After I calmed down and understood the situation, I realized his perspective was 100% correct. At the time, I didn't agree. When I realized and my emotions were down, I definitely agreed. So even if you disagree, validate their side. If someone says, hey, I'm uncomfortable, no, we're not doing this, because there's obviously a reason why. 3, take turns speaking with no interruptions. My partner and I are really good at this, especially my partner. He is a very good listener, and he will let me speak and vice versa. 4, ask for clarity. Don't assume intentions. 5, end with love. We're on the same team. Yes. So after I made that apology and I owned up and I apologized to everybody, he apologized and he said he gets it, how that could have triggered me and everything. And we held hands and we had a beautiful rest of the evening. For the whole entire evening, we had a great time because we're on the same team. So being triggered doesn't make you broken. It makes you aware. Triggers are sacred messengers inviting us back to ourselves. So I want you to reflect on a time that you were triggered recently and think about what actually was really going on. I want to offer a little challenge. So this week, when something triggers you, try pausing, reflecting, and choosing a new response. Then watch the shift. I would love for you to DM me with your reflections and stories on how you found a trigger, paused, reflect, and created a new response. So again, we're going to end on an affirmation. And today's affirmation is, I honor my emotions as sacred messengers. I choose to respond with love, take ownership of my truth, and communicate from the wisdom of my heart. And with much love, have a beautiful day.